Howdy folks. So anyway, a while back I did a review of this, the Bauer 51 fountain pen, and I found it to be in my opinion, one of, if not the best in terms of writing. Maybe not looks, but definitely writing. And anyway, this was not the pen that you saw reviewed. In fact, you saw this pen get reviewed. So in that period of time, I have bought quite a few more of these. So what I wanted to do was take a look at the variability of these inexpensive pens and see, how much they differ from pen to pen. I wanted to buy these in bulk as gifts as I was leaving a company, and I thought they're both sort of they're a nice gift because they're kind of unexpected, but a pen is sort of like a normal gift, so I don't know. That's what I thought I'd do. So I ended up buying, I ordered more pens than actually arrived, so I wasn't terribly happy about that. But I ended up getting a total of 5 more pens, so I now have 6 of these, and I'm keeping them in a certain order because I'm in certain stages of fixing each pen, try and tweak them as best I can before I hand them off. So what I planned on doing was, of course, I didn't want to give these pens away without ink in them, because that would be kind of dumb in my opinion. I don't really think that they'd appreciate that too much, having to go out and buy ink to use a gift. So I have all of the cartridges here, cartridge converters, because I wanted to go with cartridge ink. Because generally speaking, someone who's never used a fountain pen before is definitely not going to want to go out and buy a bottle of ink, because of course they're very expensive. They don't even know if they're going to like the pen or using a fountain pen. Plus it may be messy, of course, the first time you do it. So I'm giving them the converters should they ever want to do that. And the converters were very uniform. I don't see any differences at all between them. They've all got the balls in them and everything. So the converters are all the same. So what I wanted to do was give them cartridges. So you can buy these from Jinhao. You can buy them in a 10-pack, and they're just black. They come in blue as well. Cartridges are designed for Jinhao pens, but they look like this. And let me just get my measuring tape out. So they are about 56 millimeters long, and they are not the same width you might expect. If you look at the actual cartridge converter versus the size of the this cartridge, they start out, the very end is the right width, but they actually taper down, and the end that actually goes into the feed is actually much thinner, so it doesn't actually get gripped at all. So these are basically, they're held on entirely by the pressure of the nib that you stick in here. So they don't have enough mass that I think they're going to cause problems, but just something to be aware of. They're strange, but they're readily available. As you'll see when I do some writing tests, this is not very good ink. I wasn't sure what to expect, but these, you'll see that they must dilute the ink, because compared to my Namiki Black, it's not really black. So I'm not terribly happy with the ink, unfortunately. You can also buy them in 5-packs as well. I ended up getting 25 cartridges, so 2 10s and a 5. So as for the pens, one thing I will note before I do anything is if you plan on buying these cartridges with these pens, you can't do it. I didn't realize this until I ended up getting both and tried to put them together, and they didn't fit. These cartridges will not actually fit in the Bauer 51. And the reason is because there is, in the back of the pen here, there is a plastic molding, and I'm not entirely sure if that molding is to actually hold the back on, or what I think it is, I think it's to hold down the cartridge converter, because it's got a taper in it. So I feel like it might be designed to sort of help basically prevent this from backing up any further into the handle. That's my guess. But of course, it could be structural. I tried to rip it out. That was unsuccessful. So what I ended up doing was I ended up getting out a drill and drilling out the inside of that plastic sleeve, because it's got basically a fat end, a narrow part, and a fat part. So I drilled out that narrow part to make it all one size, and that would allow me to get this this all the way in, because of course this cartridge is much wider at the top than the handle of this. So it would get so far, and you couldn't get all the thread on without possibly, well, you'd probably get this stuck in here and you'd never get it out. This is that gap that I was mentioning earlier. So this isn't as I mean, it feels okay for stability, but just be aware, if the grip there wasn't too great, this may be a little dangerous, if you know what I mean. But yes, you can drill these out and you can make them fit. As is what I've done here. It's probably what all that little white powder is, because it's a white insert. So anyway, this is the one pen that has yet to start writing. That's why they're in a certain order. So the pen that I bought, the one that I've been using since then, has got this nice smooth feeder, and it's one of the things that I mentioned in my review. I really liked it. It looked a lot nicer than the other kind of feeders. And this one, of course, still has that nice smooth feeder. This one here, nice smooth feeder. This one here, nice smooth feeder as well. And then, not smooth feeder. This is a different feeder. This is sort of the usual style with the ribs on it, but it's very thin because the nib itself is very thin. And the reason why I've got these two, I ended up getting two with the weird rib nib, and the other three, or four, I guess if you count the one I ordered earlier, without the rib nib. And the one thing that I've noticed is I think it's these that they leak a little bit. So I'm not particularly happy about that. So I've just filled these no more than 15 minutes ago, and that's why there's still one pen that has yet to have ink come out of it. Two of these pens work well. Two of these pens work a little too well. The ink comes out a little bit too easy, and I'm not particularly happy about it. So the writing is to do with the ink. You're going to notice very quickly that the ink is pretty shitty. So I just wanted to look at sort of like nib variation. Of course, that's the moment when my camera decides to not focus. This particular nib here, it's a little scratchy on the up and the side. Yeah, it's the up and to the right that it really has a problem with. But it puts down a good amount of ink. And yeah, I'm not too disappointed in this nib. Sort of use that as our reference. This one here, again, the up is a little bit scratchy. This has actually got pretty much exactly the same nib. It's still up and to the left, but you can see that this one puts down a lot more ink. And I don't know if this was, yeah, see that? How it just dripped a complete giant blob on the page. This one leaks ink around the feeder. So I'm not too happy about that. So I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to fix this. I'm going to try and bend the nib a little bit to try and maybe seal around the feeder. I believe this one also has the same problem. Two of them have the exact same problem, where you can just sort of do this and you'll get a blob out, which, in my opinion, you really should not be able to do. And this nib is a little bit drier than the other one, so of course I'll tweak them to my preference, and you should expect to have to do that. So I'm not faulting the manufacturer for that. This is one of the other type nibs. or other type of feeders, sorry. This one definitely feels drier. This one has a problem just with the up direction. And it is drier, definitely. Yeah, that one grabs a little bit. This one here is the other one of the ribbed feeder. This one appears to have a problem with down. It's also drier. It's actually getting, it's becoming okay. And then of course I've got the one pen which still, no matter what I do, does not want to write. There's nothing going between the tines, so I'll have to play with this one a little bit, unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, they are cheap, they are inexpensive, so the quality control is probably not great, and it wouldn't surprise me that there's more variance than what I've just got here. But I mean, this is the largest sample size that I've seen on YouTube anyway, so I just thought, you know, while I have the pens, I might as well make this video. But they're still not bad. I mean, what's the like? I have yet to have a pen. I guess this is really what I should say. I've yet to have a pen that doesn't work at all, has something completely wrong with it. So you're gonna have to tweak it regardless. I mean, I just got super lucky with the first pen that I got, that I really didn't have to tweak it at all. But I mean, you're not gonna have to drill out the pen, because now you know, don't buy these. Actually, before I go, what I'll do is I'll write. I'll just do a little. Of course, I have to pick the one pen that doesn't work. I'll just write something with the Jinhao ink, and then with the Namiki black ink. And I'm not sure how the lighting is gonna show this. I have no idea how good the colors are, but you can, well, I can tell. This is a very rich black. I mean, this is like jet black, and it's really, really, really nice. This is slightly grayish brown to my eye, and it seems that it depends on, of course, how wet the pen is for how well this turns out. You really need a more wet pen for this ink to turn out well, in my opinion. Yeah, it's not perfectly black. Generally, I mean, if you're buying this because it's you know, it's inexpensive and you go through ink all the time, I don't think it's a big deal. But if you really care about your ink being color perfect, I would not use the Jinhao ink, because it really is not. It's really the wrong color. It's not black. So yeah. Anyway, that was a little bit of a random video, but I gotta package these up and give them away, so I thought I might as well do this before I do that. So hopefully this was useful to somebody. Thanks for watching.